As I'm sure you're tired of hearing, I have long been complaining about the stupidity of Iowa and New Hampshire's first-in-the-nation status. But after South Carolina, I have to admit I was wrong. Iowa and New Hampshire aren't the problems. It's the whole process that's undermining democracy. And this year is yet more proof. First, we let Iowa and New Hampshire hold their presidential caucus and primary contest, two states unrepresentative of the country, both overwhelmingly white, largely rural, and with a combined population size smaller than Massachusetts. Then, before we could reach a single state with any kind of diversity among voters, the only major candidates of color still in the race, Deval Patrick and Andrew Yang, not to mention Michael Bennet, dropped out. So a few candidates later, we moved on to Nevada. And after Sanders' win there, on top of his first-place finish in New Hampshire and his second in delegates anyway in Iowa, pundits were calling it, with headlines like, Sanders on track to win the presidential nomination. Again, this was 3 states in, with 47 to go, plus D.C. and the territories. To be clear, Sanders had 45 delegates after those 3 contests, out of 1,991 needed to clinch the nomination. And somehow he was the runaway favorite. Enter South Carolina, the results of which we got Saturday night, along with jokes like this one.
And well, we're still 5 weeks away from Easter, but earlier tonight, a man came back from the dead. Joe Biden won the South Carolina presidential primary just hours ago.
Laugh all you want, but it really did kind of feel that way. Even though Biden was in 3rd place nationally going into that contest, 3rd place, by the way, behind Pete Buttigieg, who dropped out after South Carolina, along with Amy Klobuchar and Tom Steyer. How does the guy who was sitting in 2nd place just drop out after only a little over 1 million people have voted in the whole country? That's less than the population of Dallas, Texas, which will vote tomorrow, by the way, along with many others, including Massachusetts, on what's called Super Tuesday. It's also worth noting that the number of delegates awarded in the first 4 states is negligible, 155 in all, less than 4% of the total count. Or, put another way, one more time, 96% of the delegates have yet to be chosen, while not a single vote from people in 46 states and 4 territories have been counted. And where are we? There are calls for the one remaining credible woman, Elizabeth Warren, to drop out, which would leave, if I may repeat myself, 3 older white men who would be 78, 78, and 79 years old on Inauguration Day. Diversity on parade in the Democratic Party. And don't even get me started on the millions of people who cast early ballots, many likely for candidates who weren't even running still by the time it was officially their state's turn to vote. So what's the solution? Simple. Regional primaries. Distinct and diverse enough to represent America, and states close enough to be easily traversed so you don't have to be Michael Bloomberg to effectively campaign in them all. Doesn't matter if you're happy with the ultimate winner here, because democracy, as in little d, is a clear loser.